It's the way to go, lost banks through the breeze and the trees when I'm sitting in a white oak stand. And I do it because it's in my blood, it's just a part of who I am. I find my way back to my roots every time I lace my boots. Hit the woods in the dark before the sun comes up. That's why I hunt.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Typical Sportsman podcast. We're here at ATA in the Nexus booth. We got Nate Hosie, Randy Birdsong from Headhunters TV. We're talking about the new products from ScentLok, but really, this episode's all about why we hunt. And that's
right.
why we opened this episode with why we hunt.
That's right.
So it's a really fun conversation, just kind of about remembering why we do what we do, staying authentic and true to ourselves, not getting lost in the trophy game. And guys, that's just my encouragement to you as a hunter. It's so easy in the social media driven days, and I don't want to get back into it because I think we could pretty easily. So easy in the social media driven days to only worry about that. But don't forget why we do what we do, because it's our passion. It's what we love to do. It's who we are. You know, it's really just it's a part of our DNA. And so I hope you'll listen. I hope you'll take it and apply it to your next season, because we all fall into that trap eventually of losing time, effort, and energy over one singular deer. And so this episode is brought to you by ScentLok. ScentLok has come out with some new products. We're going to give a rundown of those, why, how those pieces will be used in our toolkit. But really, in my opinion, what sets ScentLok apart is the activated carbon for maximum odor absorption. That's really, the difference. And we talk about it. A lot of companies make a lot of great clothes, but ScentLok really has the whitetail hunter in mind, because they are whitetail hunters. It's product made for hunters by hunters, and you're sure to love it. So check out all the new ScentLok gear. But let's jump in with Nate Hosie and Randy Birdsong.
For the true sportsman, it's more than a pastime. It's a way of life. Embrace the lifestyle of hunting, fishing, and the thrill of the wild. Live the life. Be typical.
All right, gentlemen. So full transparency, this is our second go around. We recorded yesterday, and I sent the podcast to my producer, and he's like, "Hey, there's no audio here." And I'm like, "Yes, there is. Fix it." And he's like, "There's no audio." And I'm like, "Well, great." So
I thought we could do it like those old Van Damme movies and that, where they would have scenes in the ninja scenes and they would talk, but it would go longer. Yeah, and the people's mouths were moving. Yeah, we could just kind of 100%. You could just kind of go through.
I was actually just going to have somebody voice over, and you were just going to be a different voice. I was going to have Tyler Farr do it or something.
Hey, this is my life. This is my life.
Nate, I almost said Nate and Randy Hosie. You guys aren't together. I don't.
No.
Nate Hosie, Randy Birdsong, Headhunters TV. We're here at ATA in the Nexus booth. What's up, gentlemen?
Man, just enjoying the show.
How's it been so far?
It's been good.
I didn't get to talk to you about the show yesterday because it was the start of the show.
Yeah, we're
so
kicking
now we
it
can
off.
talk
Seems
about
like
how the show.
positive vibes.
Dang it,
we're
wearing the same shirt, dude.
I know. Great minds think alike.
You guys are twinning today.
He got my text.
I feel like
text.
yesterday. I'm very thankful though to be here today and to be able to redo this, because I do feel like the way you discussed.
Yeah, we're going to avoid turkey
got
hunting.
off on a bad. Yeah, got off on a bad foot.
Your nonsensical comments about turkey hunting do not need to be heard by the world.
I
was offended.
I honestly felt bad about it yesterday. I walked away and I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that.
You struck a nerve.
Thought about your actions.
Yeah, I did. And I went home and thought about my we're not going to get back into it, but I talked about how turkey hunting sucks. Nate got mad. Whatever.
I had a lot of bass in my voice by the end of it.
That's really why we didn't have audio. He stormed off the set.
That's right. Yeah. I didn't lose my voice from speaking so much.
Did you delete the audio
yesterday? I just lost it from screaming at you.
Yeah. Did you reach over and just delete it?
Yeah, I just hit it.
Got it.
I don't want people hearing this. Nonsense.
Gentlemen, give us an introduction to yourselves.
Hit it, Bird.
Well, I tell you what, we've been doing this for a long time, boys. I was thinking up yesterday, it's 22 years been coming to the ATA show. But no, Nate and I, we co-host a show called Headhunters TV on the Outdoor Channel. We've been doing that for 15 years, and ScentLok's been a huge partner. And, well before, it's crazy. We were talking about it yesterday. Of course, they didn't hear that part, but we're going to talk about it again. Cool thing about ScentLok, I was buying and wearing ScentLok, 5, 6, 7 years prior to ever doing anything on camera or television. You know, I mean, that's how long I've trusted in it. So we've been around these guys, and we've seen the company as a whole grow, and really, you know, the stuff they're coming out with. We were looking over some of the stuff yesterday in the booth that they had coming out this year. It's just crazy, the technology, how far it's come from not only the technology, but the fit of the clothing and just the quality of the clothing overall. It's awesome to see how far they've come over the years, you know, of being with a company for that long. So pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, like Randy said, I mean, you look back at Headhunters, it's amazing to think that we've been here for 15 years doing this show. In addition to that, coming to the show for probably longer than that. But for the entirety of Headhunters TV, you know, since day one, ScentLok has been on board. You know, we've been a team with ScentLok, and, you know, to watch them grow as our show has grown over the years and have that partnership and that, you know, that just being a part of this team has been an incredible blessing for us.
Well, and I always tell people too, like, I try to align myself, and ScentLok makes incredible gear. Like, that's undoubtable, and I don't think anybody can argue that. But there's a lot of great companies that make a lot of great clothing.
Sure.
However, the company itself, they're just such great guys to work with. Like, they treat you like family. That's really how you feel.
And they're about the hunter.
They're
100%.
They're trying to make you more successful.
And they are hunters.
They are hunters. And they're out there every day in the field, you know, figuring out what works, what doesn't, and then bringing that back into the company and really designing, like we said, clothing that works for the serious hunter, and especially the whitetail hunter, you know.
I actually said this on a episode earlier. If you're making hunting gear and you don't hunt, I'm out. Like, if you're not out there testing it and knowing what works, what doesn't.
Boys, that's like wiping before you poop. It don't make sense.
One time I was shooting a broadhead by a company, and then I had a conversation with them, and they didn't even hunt. I'm like, wait, you're making broadheads for me and you don't even hunt? Like, you're not testing these. You don't see how they work. You don't see what they're doing. Like,
sure.
There's a pretty big gap there.
100%.
You know?
So 22 years in the industry. First off, how did you get your start? Like, how did Headhunters begin? What?
Man, as far as Headhunters goes, you know, I'd been filming for Don and Candy Kiske and Lee and Tiffany for a few years through the Whitetail Freaks days. And then that was back when Lee and Tiffany had Getting Close.
Yeah.
You know, they were partnering with ScentLok at the time. And Hosie was doing a lot of stuff for Hunter Specialties. And we actually him and I met at a sports show, and I think he had just graduated college. I was kind of on the Van Wilder program. I had a couple extra years in there that nobody really knows what happened, you know. But I was finishing up my degree, and I was kind of at a point in time to where it's like, okay, you know, I was getting a lot of pressure from the family and everything else. Like, all right, you're either going to have to figure out how to make a living at this, or you're going to have to get a real job. And I was getting a degree in finance, and I didn't really see myself in slacks every day going to a bank and sitting at a desk, you know. So I'd met Hosie, and him and I become, you know, good buddies just through the trade shows and stuff. And like I said, we were doing stuff in the industry, you know, not full time, but just, you know, here and there for different companies. But we had an idea. We wanted to do this thing, you know, and it's like, heck, we're at the point in our life. Let's go for it. You know, so we rolled the dice, and here we are. It's crazy to think that we had our show on Outdoor Channel
and
15 years.
We actually have a pass. Like, in the first couple of years we came to ATA, we would literally sit on those Millennium benches until security turned and sneak in.
You figured out how good a hunters you were because you sat around and just...
It'd be a lot cheaper to do that.
You just eyeballed the security guards. And
we would spend all our money to travel hoping we don't get tased when we go in. You know what I mean? And that includes out to Vegas. We'd go out and sneak into shot and all of them.
Every show.
Yeah,
you became a challenge.
You can't do that now.
Yeah, whenever we say that we come from the bottom.
I think I still got it.
Let's go test it. We can set up let's do a video.
He's getting too old to get tased.
We'll deck you out in full camo, and you can see if you can sneak in
like a ninja still. I believe. Yeah.
I heard you can still score some buckets on old Dennis Rodman is what I heard.
Oh, you mean
through
the cover band days? Yeah,
through the grapevine.
That was another wild time. You know, that was right as we were getting into the industry. I told Birdsong, you know, when we first met, because I had been doing a lot of like competitive calling and stuff at that time, and I was like, man, I also play in a cover band. He's like, really? I was like, yeah, you should come to a show. So him and a couple of our buddies, Jake Stokey.
What was the name of the cover band?
Maybe Someday.
Cool.
Because it was like, we'd always be like, oh, well, maybe someday we'll do something. Yeah, maybe someday. So we used to have this wild cover band. Well, one night we were playing a show at the hardware bar, and Dennis Rodman was coming through on his tour. So Rodman was up on stage with us, and we were doing Pearl Jam and all kinds of things. Like, I never.
Well, I bet that got weird, didn't it?
Oh no, it got real weird. But like, I never, of all the things I've done, I'd never be like, oh, I'm going to sing Better Man with Dennis Rodman.
You didn't like ask him like, hey, can we find a ball and hoop and just like go at it for a minute?
I think just him being there in my presence, he realized that at any
he
given
realized
moment,
this is a dominant presence.
I boxed him out.
You were really the dominant
ripped
athlete.
the boards.
Yeah.
I ripped the boards. Dude, I was a dominant 3-man weave.
Yeah.
He saw it. The athleticism.
Yeah.
The athleticism on the stage is what he saw.
No, we'll go with that.
He compared me to the greats like Michael Jordan,
You
Scottie Pippen.
Did he?
No.
You just keep living in your own dome. You know?
22 years in the industry. What have you seen change in the industry over that 22 years?
Everything. We were just walking around the show here, man. It's like
Our waist size.
Yeah?
No.
Yeah. Way more gray hair, a lot less hair.
A little bit of gray shade to us, you know what I mean? That's why I wear the paint, you know what I mean, to cover the gray shade.
I got you. Yeah.
And I think everything has changed to a certain degree. I mean, I think back on whenever we got started. I mean, it seems like it was a way simpler time for one. Back then you could get by with, you toted your camera to the tree and you tried to shoot a good buck on camera.
Yeah.
And that was the start and the end of it. And as long as you were doing that, it's like, I mean, we've succeeded. And now it's like, man, it's, we're constantly between social media and digital projects and short form video content that we're doing, plus the television show. It keeps us hopping and moving more than what we once did,
So
still trying to stay relevant.
In your opinion, and this might be a hot topic, I don't know, but in your opinion, is the amount of individuals that just film their hunt and put out content, does that take a toll on the TV guys?
I think it's more about the number of people that's just producing content overall. I think there's so much more out there, and it's getting, I don't know, to me it feels like from a viewership standpoint or from a viewer, it gets harder to kind of dissect what's legit and what's not, because there's so much of it, so it's I don't know. It's kind of a weird time that we're in now, because I think everybody to a certain degree is trying to figure it out, what's relevant, what's legit, what's not, what do we need to be doing, so it's almost like it's an ever moving, constantly moving target.
Yeah.
And I think though, like, it's always difficult to try to see, what's going to be the next big thing. What do you need to be doing? How do you adjust and stay relatable? And
well, I told you yesterday how you stay relatable. The whole challenge of you dress him in an outfit, he dresses you in an outfit.
Oh yeah, that's you guys the outfit challenge. But like, you look back, the first couple of years we were coming here, if somebody walked in and was like, "Hey, you gonna be around tomorrow for a podcast?" Everybody would be like,
"Podcast?
What's a podcast?"
Yeah, that dude came up with his own language at Howl at the Moon last night. What's a podcast? You know what I mean? Like,
thanks, Joe Rogan.
Yeah, nobody would know exactly what you were talking about.
Right.
But I think the relatability always comes down to, just like when we started Headhunters TV, hunting is therapeutic to people, and hunting is about the atmosphere you create. So when we started it, we never started Headhunters saying, well, we're great hunters, so people should know that we're great hunters.
Yeah.
We went out there to promote what we love.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about if they thought we were great hunters or not. It was about, look at us and know that we love this sport. We've been,
this
since
is
we're 5 years old.
Yeah.
This is what we love. So the relatability in that aspect of it, I always say, no matter how many influencers you have, as long as that is at the core, then that is the success. The relatability, whether it's television, digital, whatever it may be. I think we've got a pretty good, idea now of legitimacy, right? Like, I mean, I could talk to somebody, know whether or not they're deer hunters, turkey hunters, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can have a pretty good read. And my favorite influencers or television shows or whatever are all the people who are legitimate, who love it. It's not about me. It's about us. It's about all of us, succeeding, all of us, and growing this sport for people to look at the, if maybe somebody relates to Birdsong in the way that he is obsessed with deer and the way that, he can set up farms and all his talents that he has. Great. You know what I mean? You're building the sport. If somebody looks and says, man, you know what? I think I'm going to paint my face. Great. If they're going to watch Bone Collector, Sequan,
I got to paint my head.
Whatever it is. The Megalodon.
That Joker is shining a little bit.
Megalodon.
They call me Chrome Dome back home.
Get a little shade to it. But I'm saying, all of these different things from television to digital.
Right.
I like all the influence as long as it is legitimate.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And you said something a while ago. You're talking about us staying relatable as a core, and I do think there's a lot of truth to that. And kind of to expand on that is like, yeah, you got to go and try different things, whether it's maybe doing podcasts or doing digital projects or having a bigger social presence or whatever it might be outside of used to we got by with just having linear television. Now, we're having to do other things as a part of our portfolio. But like you said, and to touch on that, we've always kind of kept that relatability as the core, no matter what we're doing, whether we're on social, whether we're doing a digital project, it's still about who we are and how much we love it, Yeah. And I think no matter what we do, I think that always shows, because at the end of the day, whether we were doing this, to make a living or whatever, we would still be doing the exact same things, whether the camera was there or not, and I think that does make, it makes a person legit to a certain extent, because, that's who we are. That's the life we live. And that's what we would be doing one way or the other.
Yeah. And that's what, I think the staying relevant and the being legitimate, it all just comes down to authenticity.
It does.
And it's so easy. I mean, you can watch one video of a dude on social media and just be like, this dude, he's trying to be something he's not.
And you can only do that for so long. It's like you can only try to be somebody you're not, or try, that stuff shows through.
You got to remember too. I mean, anybody can kill a deer. Anybody can, kill a turkey, an elk, whatever it is. Anybody can
kill a turkey. You're right.
I walked myself right into this nonsense.
That was easy.
Right into this nonsense.
That was too easy, honestly.
But what I'm saying is, like, the relatability I'm not relating to somebody because they shot a buck. I'm not relating to somebody because they shot a turkey. I'm relating to them because I could see it in them that they loved it.
It's a shared passion.
You know what I mean? Because like I said, I think there is, to an extent, some posers, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm not one to judge, whatever. But the people who love it, I'm relatable to them because I could see 100%. It. And I know what they're.
We were talking yesterday too. It's like, man, you got to be very careful. There's like a fine line there, because we were talking about this yesterday when we sat down. But there's nothing wrong with everybody has goals, right? So everybody can have goals. Well, I'm going to shoot. I'd love to shoot a 150-inch deer next year or whatever. But it's when you take those goals and you solely make it about those goals for your happiness.
Yeah.
That it becomes a problem. Like and Nate and I mean, in 15 years of doing this, we've shot some nice animals over the years, but we've also shot a lot of ones that we were just proud of. They weren't huge.
100%.
We were just happy, and as hunters, it's like, don't make it and set the bar so high that it has to be about a certain size of animal before you're happy.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got people we know that it's like, well, if a deer isn't this big, well, it doesn't make me happy. It's like, well, man, you're missing out on the whole.
And what you're doing is
all supposed to be about.
What you're doing is and I don't want to get into, what you're doing is you're minimizing that deer's life to nothing more than a target.
Yeah.
Nothing more than a game that you're trying to play.
And you look at it, and we discussed it yesterday. I mean, I've never had the opportunity to shoot a 200-inch deer. Would I love to? Of course. If it happens someday, great. If it doesn't,
great.
I love what I do.
Yeah.
But if you told me, Nate, tomorrow, you could stay here in Indiana and we got a 200-inch deer you're going to kill, or you can go home tomorrow and shoot a spike with your son.
Yeah.
I'm going for the spike. You know what I mean? If they say, Nate, you can shoot a 200-inch deer tomorrow right here in Indiana, or, my grandpa, he's passed a long time ago. He's watching down. That's who got me into all of it, him and my dad. But no, you can go back and, shoot your first buck again with your grandpa tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going back because hunting to me has never been about a score. I'm not defined by an animal. I'm not defined by a score, a number, whatever it is. I'm defined by the fact if you relate to loving to hunt and loving the outdoors and God's creation, then you relate to me and I relate to you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And loving the atmosphere of it too. I can remember as a little kid being, 4, 5, 6 years old, like, man, that was my life, looking forward to rifle deer camp, of going with my dad and my grandpa, sitting around a campfire at night, grilling over an open fire.
100%.
It's like all that creates those memories, and the atmosphere that hunting creates. It's fun, man. That's what it's supposed to be about. And, I mean, shoot, I've been guilty of it too. Like sometimes I've gotten down in a rabbit hole so far, and, whether it was a deer under my skin or whatever it might be, something that I put more focus on than the atmosphere of what it was supposed to be about.
Handcuffing me, letting me shoot.
But you gotta remember,
like,
man.
Literally, he brings handcuffs. That'd be weird.
I mean, it's that close. And
fuzzy?
No. Deer skin.
Deer skin.
They're made of real deer tail, white tail.
No, and that, dude, you're 100% right. The atmosphere to me is almost more important than the hunt itself. Like,
for sure.
And I remember taking my wife on a hunt, and it was in the North Maine woods for bear, and I remember rolling up, and she's like looking around. She's like, "This is like it's a bunch of dudes drinking beer, and like this is not." And I'm like, "Just trust me. Like you're gonna leave here and like love these people." And she's like, "I don't know about this." And sure enough, like she's still friends with the other wives that were in camp, and like they communicate back and forth, and it's just that atmosphere that we all love that. Sometimes makes the hunt more special than the deer you kill.
Hosie always says he's always busting in deer camps. He's like, man, deer camps are way funner when people are bringing animals in to hang up on the skinning pole rather than set back and there's
talking about the
170 that everybody's chasing around. We can't kill it unless it's a booner.
I like to be there and celebrate. I mean,
100%.
I remember when we were starting to write the first Woods album. My buddy Randy Montana and Dan Isabel and we sat down and we were going to write. And I said, the first song I like to write is a song called Why I Hunt. And I was like,
I love that song, by the way.
I was like, in that song, I want it to be about everything except killing something.
That's cool.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's
because
really cool.
When you really sit back and think about why I hunt, I'm blessed right now to be able to go home, my 2 boys and my wife, and I sit there and I film everything, because I'm not worried about it as much for the TV show, although we use some of it, as much as I am for Tiffany and I's memories.
Yeah.
But I sit there and I watch my kids walking in the woods and, they're all camoed up. And, those are the moments that makes hunting for me. Thinking about my grandpa, some of the lessons he taught me while we'd be out there hunting. And, when we wrote that song, it was something that really meant a lot to me because it was about exactly what we just discussed, the atmosphere. It's about, it's the way the good Lord speaks through the breeze in the trees when I'm sitting in a white oak stand.
Yeah.
I do it because it's in my blood. It's just a part of who I am. I find my way back to my roots every time I lace my boots. And the ideas were all things that didn't have anything to do with punching a tag.
Right.
You know what I mean? It just had to do with going out there. It's a cattle gate closing real slow, hot hands in your pocket when you're real cold.
Yeah.
And I think for all of us who love it like we do, that is it. I mean, I'm not going out to hunt thinking, of course we all love to punch a tag. Don't get me wrong. We're all out there with a goal and we're trying to punch a tag. But when you really break it down,
when you get lost in that,
that's a lot less of the times, that you're actually punching tags than you're out there enjoying the woods, laughing with your buddies, whatever it might be.
And that's why I think
enjoying it.
That's why I think all and I say true sportsmen, that's why I think all sportsmen, like if I walk into my basement and somebody's asking me about the trophies, like my favorite ones aren't the biggest. Like it's like, oh, that my son was with me for that one. Or, this one, my dad got to come see it. And like
something special.
Those are the ones that are more important to me. But going back to your music, and I don't mean to toot your horn or, I definitely want to make you feel better about yourself.
You should definitely make your ringtone strut.
Okay. I will just for you.
Make me feel better about our relationship.
Dude, I'll set it right now. You can watch me do it after this.
Okay.
But I'll say this though. I like that with your music, it just shows who you are and it shows what you're passionate about. And one time I heard a Christian rapper, and he said, I'm tired of people calling me a Christian rapper. He said, I'm a rapper that loves Jesus.
Yeah.
So that shows through my music.
Sure. Yeah.
And cool. the same is true with you for hunting. I don't feel like you're trying to make it so you can be a hunting music guy.
No.
It's just you love music and you love hunting, and the hunting shows through the music.
Yeah, music happened in tragedy of my life. Music was an amazing outlet that God put into my life through tragedy. I didn't grow up. I grew up singing in the shower like we all did and things like that. But it happened through tragic moments in my life, and music became an outlet that God put in my path. And, hunting has been since I'm 5 years old. The woods has always been my outlet.
Right.
So, if something was bothering me, the first thing, to this day, when my mom had told me my grandpa had passed away, the first thing I did was run to the woods because I didn't know how to handle that kind of hurt at that moment. So the only place I can go to find a little bit of peace from that is where I remembered him the most. You know what I mean? And it's, so the woods, like I said, it's therapeutic. And I think that for people who really love it, they understand exactly what I'm talking about, because it's not just 100%. About shooting a deer. There's a connection out there to God, to
the people you're with.
That's
like
right.
Like we're talking about,
like you were saying earlier, we're talking about music. So like a song that always stood out to me that Dallas Davidson and Rhett Akins wrote on the Bone Collector album was a song called Keepers. And it's an idea of this guy in Mississippi that owns a bait shop. Guy walks in, he's like, man, it looks like you got some keepers, and he's talking about, obviously, you're led to believe he's talking about the trophies, the fish, the deer, the whatever.
Yeah.
And he says, but I know what you're thinking, son, but the keepers in those pictures ain't the ones I'm holding. It's the ones I'm standing with. You know what I mean? It's the idea of
that's really
the
cool.
Friendship. They're the ones you give your life for.
Deep.
And I mean, when it really comes down to it, man, like people later in life are never going to be like, man, if I just let them get to be 5.
Yeah.
I mean, my life would be complete. I mean, it's, enjoy it.
Yeah.
If it's a nice deer, shoot it. If you
100%.
like it, have fun with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And my dad, for me, has always been that guy that, I grew up in Northwest Arkansas, it's where my folks live, and it's my favorite place to hunt. Like, I'm not going to kill a big deer.
Sure.
But
it's where you grew up.
But it's so
man.
special, man. Like,
so many memories.
The doe I shot this year down there weighed 75 pounds. Like, but who cares? I was with my dad. Like, and one time, and I don't want to get I might cry. I was on my way home from a hunt, and I get a phone call that my dad went in for routine surgery, and things went bad. And like, my mom's just on the phone, like screaming, crying. And I'm like, I'll be there in 4 hours. Like, I'm getting there as soon as I can. And what was weird is the first thing that went through my mind was, who do I call after I kill a deer if my dad's gone? Like, what happens?
Yeah.
And anyways, my dad pulls through and comes, and the first thing he says to me on the phone, one of the guys I was hunting with shot a deer, and we never found it. And the first thing my dad says, like, I just thought you were dead, dude.
Yeah.
And the first thing he says, did they find the deer? And I'm like, that's what you want to say to me right now? But again, that's just like our relationship is rooted in that. Like that's who we are together.
In moments like that, it shows you what truly matters, which is time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And take the time to make it fun, to make it enjoyable, to make it memorable, because, time passes everybody by.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not going to waste my time worried about if he's, got enough inches on his head.
Yeah.
If I like the deer, I'm going to go ahead and let her rip. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Even if it's on Birdsong's place and I'm on the no list, I'm going for it.
Right.
Throw me out.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
We
You'll
need
be
some
beating with a
content.
switch
Throw
behind the
me
woodshed.
out.
I don't ever get to hunt again, but I killed the deer. You know what I mean? Like,
Cody said I can still hunt. Cody cleared it.
Yeah.
Cody cleared it.
No, and I think going back to the time thing, there was a year I had a picture of this deer, 180, and I consumed everything about my life. Like, missed birthday parties, missed, kids, music programs, because I'm like, the deer might show up tonight. It's cool. I got to go out there. And ended up not killing the deer. And I'm like, I look back, I'm like, I wasted. Like, I'm never going to get back that kindergarten program of my daughters that I missed. Like, because of a deer?
Yeah.
Like, are you serious? And just a reality check for me was like, you've made it about something it's not supposed to be about. Like, and sometimes we all have to have that check,
Oh,
There's no doubt.
I think everybody does. Like I said, I've been guilty of it myself. And it's like every once in a while, you get that reality check of, okay, let's reset.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to open this song with, I'm going to open this episode with That's Why I Hunt. Like, it's going to play in the opening.
Nice.
Because I think that's.
And then your phone's going to strutting because I haven't forgot.
I'm going to set it.
They're going to be like,
you can watch me do it.
Be like, you must love turkey hunting. I'm going to be like, yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does.
My ringtone right now is just a bull elk ripping off, but I'll change it to turkey since.
As much as I love a bull elk, you're going to go ahead and change it because your word's your word.
I actually did a podcast
Only thing a man's
yesterday.
got is word.
That's right. That's all he's got.
We did a podcast yesterday sitting right in these seats, and that was a lot better because he had a joint hatred for turkeys. So
y'all got along good?
I'm not going to tell you.
I will find him.
Joe Griffin. Where's he at?
I'll find him. Don't worry. He'll get a flat tire here before the day's over.
We're going to see you creeping through booths.
Yeah.
Where are you at, Joe?
Yeah. He's going to hear my wingtips dragging behind him, and he's going to get a flat tire. His boot's going to be down.
But what was funny is we bonded over the love of spring bear hunting, and like that's why we don't turkey hunt, because it's like I want to go spring bear hunt. And he did ask me. He said, so because I said, Nate hates both of us now, and he said, well, has he ever spring bear hunted? And I said he's done the Canada thing over bait. And he's like, yeah, that's why he doesn't like go out west and spot and stalk them. And, it's just a different game.
Look, I agree. And I do like the idea of a spot and stalk bear hunt. And it's not that I don't enjoy the Canada thing of bear hunting. And I'm not hating on bear hunting. I'm just saying there is a lot more intensity.
Hosie's going to say, respectfully, I'm going to decline and go turkey hunting.
This is what we're going to do.
I'm going to decline the bear hunt, and I'm going turkey hunting.
This is what we're going to do. Montana offers an incredible spring bear and turkey. You can kill both.
Okay.
So we'll turkey hunt and then bear hunt. It'll be a blast.
That could be
both
cool.
worlds.
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, you get to yelp, have this conversation with these turkeys. All you hear in them bears the whole time is they get by them donuts like, you know, and I'm like, is that them making that noise? Now I'm freaked out. You know what I mean? Turkey, at least if you get
the best part about spring bear hunting is you can just crawl down and grab a donut if you get hungry.
Yeah, that's what I sound like when I'm eating donuts too.
What do you got over there? I actually know what it is because I talked to the guy last night. But
really?
Yeah.
So Dirk Stark made this.
That's so cool, man.
Isn't that cool? It's a bull elk bugle. It's got a big old bull elk here and Headhunter logo.
Did you get one or no? He made you a turkey call?
You don't want audio for what I have to say.
You didn't get one, dude.
Well, according to him, mine's in the mail. He had to
give
process.
Oh, it's in the mail. I didn't know I'd see you.
I said, yeah, Dirk, I've been told that before.
I didn't know you were coming.
Stand by the mailbox.
What are you doing here? I didn't know you were here.
Man. He's like, wait, what was your name again? Nate Jose?
Yeah, exactly. He must be a bear guy.
Yeah.
He knows my turkey love.
Probably. So on the ScentLok front, what's your favorite new products from ScentLok this year? You've got to play with them, touch them.
Man, yesterday I was looking hard at those Insight pants. They got the regular Insight and then they got the Insight Light.
Yeah.
And I've always been a fan of kind of that fit of a really fitted kind of cargo type pair of pants you can wear for every day or hunting.
Yeah.
And they've got it this year coming out in a solid and camo. So I'll be wearing that thing, you know, the lights.
Daily.
Yeah, you can unzip them right there on the side. You got the air conditioner pocket, you know.
It's, my wife
zipper.
gets super embarrassed like when we're at Walmart though, and I'm like, you know, have them unzipped. She's like, I can see your legs. And I'm like, they're not that bad. And like, I mean, I've seen better looking legs on a pool table, but
they're glorious. They're glorious. For me, man, it's that it's the Savannah. The Savannah Fuse. You know, like I've loved the Savannah. I've worn it early season. I also push it up into mid season. I just love the fit of it.
You probably turkey hunt that, don't you?
Yeah,
I mean, that's great for that.
turkey hunt in it.
Yeah.
But like, as he was saying, the technology that they've come a long way with, not only from, you know, you have the heated vests, all that kind of stuff, which are unbelievable, but also with the new Savannah, you know, the cooling technology. Yeah. You're out there sometimes in the you know, west when we're kicking things off, we're dealing with temps sometimes 90 degrees.
Yeah, even 100.
I mean, 100 degrees. It is hot. So with that cooling technology, I mean, it's a game changer to be out there. And the new sleek cut and feel of it. Yeah. I mean, just incredible stuff.
I was pretty blown away.
To raise the bar.
I was pretty blown away yesterday, honestly, with several products. Though, I mean, you touched on the heated vest. The reactor vest is something I've worn for the last 3 or 4 years since it's come out, and it's been a game changer for me because I don't like to get cold. And
when Steve said we made the vest better, I'm like, no, you didn't.
Exactly.
Like, you couldn't. Yeah. Then you show up, it's a puffy material. Lighter, more packable.
It's got more heat elements down lower. You know, it's got a new battery system. It's just like they really have raised the bar, and then now they've got the merino wool base layers,
full
which
merino
is huge.
from ScentLok. Yeah.
I hate getting sweated up. It's one of the worst things ever is like getting my back sweaty going to the tree. Yeah. It's cold. You got that moisture that you can't get away from your body and you're instantly cold. But that merino, man, it just, I've always loved the idea of that, of being able to wick that moisture, get it away from your body.
Well, so many guys talk about layering system and technical pieces like for out west, which is super important. But then we forget about the whitetails and we're like, we throw on our big, bibs and jacket and we get to our tree stand and we're sweating to death. Yeah. And so then we get freezing cold once we cool off. And that's what I like about ScentLok is they're looking at more technical whitetail pieces. I can get to my tree stand.
True systems, that
like
work.
Real systems that each part plays an intricate role. And, you look at the BE1 toolkit and that's what it is. It's a toolkit for bow hunters. And that's what, going back to gear built for hunters by hunters, like the reason they could build a successful toolkit for bow hunters is because they're bow hunters.
Bow hunters, right.
And so, which used to, my favorite was the hoodie, in the Ridge hoodie in that system. And now the Ridge has become its own system with a hoodie and pant and jacket. So I'm stoked about that. But
I looked at that yesterday too. And you got the Berber fleece lining,
super comfortable,
super comfortable material, super quiet. And just the mobility that they've built into those systems as a bow hunter, man. The worst thing is to be able to get up in a stand and you're trying to bow hunt, you're trying to draw your bow, you're trying to stay warm and still be able to have that mobility that you need.
Right.
And you don't get that in every piece of clothing out there.
Yeah.
And they've done a good job of really building that into the systems to where a guy can get up there and move around the way and not have to feel constricted.
Yeah. My favorite part about the Ridge hoodie is it's something like if it's, 35, 40, I can put it on and be warm. But then if I have the vest in my bag, I can throw the vest on and just that hoodie and get to, 20, 15 and be warm and comfortable. Like it's such a cool piece because it can go a long way in the heat
both
spectrum.
ways,
yeah, you're exactly right.
So what's next for Headhunters, man? What do you got coming out?
Man, we had a solid fall. We're going to have some, we got turkey season. Come. We'll have all of
Now, yesterday when I asked you that question, you said, lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was
that
he
was
hungry?
yesterday. This is today.
How was he with
Now we're turkey season.
He would turkey hunt, and right now is what, January the 8th, 9th, somewhere. He would turkey hunt the rest every day.
Do you ever fall turkey hunt?
Yeah, I did actually. I used to do it a ton when I was a kid, especially when I was calling competition, because for me, that was the greatest practice I could have is go out there, bust those flocks, listen to those boss hands, yelp them all back up. I mean, you learn all kinds of,
much,
cadence, tone, different little noises they would make. You learn so much. Then I kind of got out of it. And this year I broke it back out and yelped one up for my little boy Cruz. We called the whole flock in.
That's cool.
And he dumped his first fall turkey. He's killed two in the spring. He's killed Jake, and he killed his first longbeard last spring. But this year was his first time fall hunting. It was awesome. We worked them up through a food plot, and they come up, and the whole flock was coming down the road.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. And I'm just sitting there like, don't you dare shoot. Do not dare pull that trigger. Because they were just wadded. They were just wadded. And I'm like, I am just dadding him hard in his ear. I'm like, do not dare. And he's going, Dad, but I got to go. I'm like, don't you dare. And, by the grace of God, the flock pushed off, and like one hen come like just boom, and he got his first fall one. So it was cool.
My son shot a pretty good trophy this year. The back glass out of my neighbor's house. That was pretty cool. Yeah.
Are you going to mount it?
Yeah. He comes up to the house in his underwear, and I'm like, what are you doing, dude? And he looks like he's seen a ghost. And he's like, I shot some glass. And I'm like, what do you mean you shot some glass? And so he starts walking me out in the field, and like way back in the field, I'm like, where are we going? I'm like, oh, he found an old bottle or something and shot it. And we walked back around, and I start walking up to this house, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And as soon as I get closer, I could just see spider webs. Like the whole back glass is gone. And I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. So what were you thinking, dude? And he said, there was a bird on their porch. I thought I could hit it. And I'm like, yeah, well, you didn't.
What did he shoot it with?
BB gun. I'm like, yeah, well, you didn't. Luckily, the guy's house that he shot it out of is the regional the regional guy for Pheasants Forever. So he's like, yeah, you can't blame a kid for shooting a bird now, can you? And I'm like, I'm glad you're cool about this, because
looking at whack his earlobe while he was shooting. Hey,
kid's crazy, man.
What was that now?
But you shot a tanker this year, didn't you?
I did, man. I might not ever shoot one bigger.
It was a dandy, dude.
Yeah, it was like 192. In Kansas.
I'm looking for a 193 next year.
Yeah, I would too.
Old Tommy Topper over
That's
here.
all I'm going for, 192 and 3/8.
Now, I would have shot if one was in front of him, way smaller. I would have never shot him because it would have been a first come, first serve.
Dandy is my new favorite word for that's the best of the best. I was on an elk hunt, and this guy,
dandy.
This guy, this old cowboy, he was telling stories all week, and he'd be like, man, I saw a bear over there, and it was a dandy.
Dude, I used that a bunch of Cruz. That's what I used on his first buck. He's a dandy. I told him. That's a good one.
He would tell stories. He's like, dude, this guy shot a bull, and, he called me with my mules, and I showed up, and it was a dandy.
I feel like those old timers, they use that a lot.
But later
Dandy's
on,
a good one. Dandy's a good go-to.
Later on, the guide was like, listen, if he says it was a big bull, it's a big bull. If he says it was a decent bull, decent bull. He says, if he says it was a dandy, you better find out where that bull was and go kill him, because it's a mega giant.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, that's my new favorite word.
Dandy.
And you killed a dandy, dude.
He was a good one. I was proud of that one, man. Gosh,
he's a big one.
I probably, like I said, I probably won't ever shoot a bigger one.
When will that episode air? When can they watch that?
Probably mid-August.
Now, how was the hunt? Like, was it a cool story or just a cool deer?
No, we had known about that deer for a couple years, and he wasn't a deer that was like super regular, right?
Yeah.
So he'd show up, kind of be, he'd ghost you for a while, and might show up again.
He'd disappear when Hosie showed up?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not allowed to hunt there.
Oh,
I'm not allowed to hunt.
I figured he always disappeared because you were sitting in your tree stand singing.
I've never invited to this place.
Oh, yeah.
This is Randy's.
You can
place.
go during turkey season.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sorry,
continue on. Continue.
No,
on.
but like I said, he just wasn't very consistent deer, and he come in. We had one encounter with him, and not that he got boogered, but he knew something wasn't right.
Yeah,
and we didn't know if we'd ever see him again. And like 2 days later, we just happened to get a trail camera picture of him going back to bed late in the morning, like at 9:30 in the morning. So we knew he was going to be bedded kind of close to there. He was like a half a mile from where we'd seen him a couple days before. And we slid in there real easy that evening. And I mean, right at last light, he come back in. And
so how many times did you hunt this deer?
I mean, over the course of a 3-year period, I there was 1 year I didn't draw. We was passing him the first of those 3 years. So, I mean, I'd been in that area hunting in that area where he lived quite a bit, you know, quite a few sets.
I love those stories, man, because sometimes you hear them on the vice versa. Like I've heard stories of guys and they're like, I set for 27 days straight, like knowing he was in there. Yeah. And then my buddy this year kills a 197. Me and Pierce were actually talking about this yesterday. Kills a 197. And I call him, I'm like, dude, what a I'm like, I didn't even know you had that deer. He's like, I didn't either. He's like, that was a brand new lease. Drove out there, put a camera up, drove back home to Missouri, got a picture, and I'm like, oh, crap. So he's like, I turned around, drove right back, killed him. And I'm like, you jerk.
Where this deer was living was like it was a very small creek bottom. So it was one of those places where you couldn't go in there unless everything was right, you know? And so it wasn't a place that got hunted a ton, but when it was right, you could slip in there and have a pretty good high percentage chance of seeing, you know, something good in there.
That's cool.
We got lucky. I mean, I think there's always a lot of luck that plays into that stuff.
So what season are you guys in right now? Like season
15.
15, yeah. That means you're old, dude.
Talk about time flying.
We're seasoned.
That means you're old.
We are getting old.
Dominant.
Season 16 coming, you're going to have a Dress to Impress challenge. That's going to be the episode title. Dress to Impress. You guys need a new marketing guy.
That's right.
Dress to Impress.
Exactly.
Listen, here's what's going to happen, and I'm just telling them they have to do this. I'll make my ringtone strutting if you make a Dress to Impress episode.
No, strutting was already confirmed.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, strutting was already confirmed.
He's
well
backing
before.
up now.
Yeah. I don't have.
I'll open the episode with strutting. No, I'm just kidding. This is what I challenged them to do. Nate gets to dress Randy. Randy gets to dress Nate, and whatever kind of stupid outfits they can come up with, and they have to hunt that outfit until they kill a deer. I know what Nate's going to do. He's going to shoot the first forky that comes in, so he can say, I'm done.
I'm done.
That's exactly right.
It could get interesting.
I think it'll be cool, man.
I think it'd be really cool. You see Randy hunting his Katy Perry.
Just on fire.
Singing firework, you know what I mean?
That's part of the rule. You have to sing the entire time.
You're going to hear bird roar, but it has to do with the bathroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whoa,
I usually roar at least one time a day.
What are you going to dress him in, though? You're Katy Perry.
Maybe Batman. I mean, he
that'd
tries
be cool.
to be Batman.
That's all black,
anyway.
You win.
Yeah.
Dark Knight.
He's already halfway
You sit in the ground blind, you'll be perfect. That's cool.
Well, then
guys,
love me. I'm trying my best Batman voice.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. Make sure and go check out Headhunters. Make sure and check out all the new products from ScentLok. They have successfully heard customer feedback and saw holes in their kit and filled those holes. So go check out the new items from ScentLok. Thank you guys so much for listening. Y'all have a fantastic week.
I'm sitting in a white oak stand, and I do it because it's in my blood. It's just a part of who I am. I find my way back to my roots every time I lace my boots. Hit the woods in the dark before the sun comes up. That's why I